Hello. Today we're going to learn about arrays. So in programming in C#, for example, if you have an integer value, you can give it a number, a different number. You can give it any type of number, but any type of integer number, but it can only hold one number at a time. So if you want to hold a lot of different numbers in one variable, the way to do that's an array. There are single-dimensional arrays in which you could have a set of numbers, or multi-dimensional arrays if you wanted to display, for instance, a matrix, or a three-dimensional array if you want to do it in three-dimensional shape and represent all the points within that. But to keep it simple, we'll start with an array of integers, single-dimensional. So for that single-dimensional array, you put square brackets right after your variable type, in this case integer. If it was two-dimensional, you put two more brackets, another two for three-dimensional, but we'll keep ours one-dimensional. So let's say my int array, and you could give it values right after declaring it as well, like this with the curly brackets. Numbers can be repeated, etc. If you wanted to define it and then give it values later, then you have to tell it how much memory to reserve. So in that case, you would do my reserved int array, for example, call it anything you want, but equals new. Put the square brackets again and tell it how big you want it to be. Let's say we'll make it put 5 things in it. New int with 5 things in it. And this is important to note that in programming we start counting at 0, not at 1. So this is going to be at index. There'll be an index within that array at 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's 5 items, but we start at 0, we end at 4. So if you were to loop through that array to put data into it, we would loop from 0 to 4. So let's do that. For int my iterator I, we'll start with 0, and we'll loop until we reach the end of the array. So I is less than my my reserved int array dot length. Because it's less than, I can go all the way to the length, which is 5. So it's less than 5, which is 4, it'll stop. If I did less than equal, which you often see, then we would do length minus 1. So now it's really clear. We're going from 0 to 5 minus 1, which is 4. And at each position, let's give it a value. Let's put them in order. So let's do 0. Let's start with 1. So we'll do I plus 1. So we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's do my reserved array at position I equals I plus 1. So now we're putting in it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 0 plus 1 is 1. 1 plus 1 is 2, etc. And of course, in our for loop here, we want to say that we're increasing by 1 each time. We can increase by 2, but in this case, let's increase by 1. So I equals I plus 1, or I plus plus, however you like to do that. I've got a console read line down here just so that it'll wait and keep the output on the screen, but let's give it some output. So let's do another for loop, and we'll this time, instead of doing a regular for loop, we'll do a for each loop, just to show you something different. So let's do for each int my int. Actually, we've already used my int, so I'll do my int for each equals or in the reserved array. And let's write it to the screen. Console.writeLine my int for each. And I'll show you what's happening here. In this case, it's just each time through taking a value out of here and putting it into here and then giving this a new value. Let's go ahead and hit F5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 is displayed. And I think we already talked about how that was assigned here. Now, if you go outside the bounds of the array, it should give you an index out of bounds error, which makes sense. So you could do that by basically taking this minus 1 off here, and you'll see index out of the bounds. There you go, outside the bounds of the array. So we're constrained to where it's been defined. However, you could always build a new array if you wanted to copy this array into it, and you could make that a bigger array to leave some empty space inside it. Lots of things you could do there. Maybe we'll cover those in another video. So, all right, well, that's an array. If you have any questions, let me know. Thank you very much.